haven't sold ticket number one. We haven't sold a jersey. We haven't sold $300 tennis shoes or nothing, man. We're just turning on the TV, and we're $3 billion a year into the red, or into the black, excuse me. So there's not a lot of sympathy there. But, it's hard to argue that the players don't get that. But that's the Wild West there, because we talked about this before. Not in any way comparing who's the best players in the NBA, but let's just say whether you think it's LeBron, whether you think it's Tim Duncan, whether you think it's Kevin Durant, whatever, whoever your choice is for being the top guy, instead of being capped out, I mean, you could see a situation like, and obviously I would think there would have to be a mechanism of tightening up the luxury tax too, because otherwise, what's the point of it? Teams will just go over and spend, and then you'll just have a fake salary cap, because you'll still have the haves and the have-nots. You'll have teams that are willing to spend, X amount of hundreds of millions on payroll, and teams that will spend the salary cap and not want to go over it. So you're still going to get a baseball type situation. But yeah, if you took away the ceiling, like, I get it from a guy like LeBron's perspective as a basketball player, even though, it's easy to go, well, he's got all the outside revenue. But looking at it, because a lot of guys don't, so looking at it, taking that out of the equation, you take that cap off of there, and all of a sudden, what's a guy like LeBron or Kevin Durant or any of these not even franchise, I'm talking league makers, the top 8 or 10 that really move the jerseys, the Kobe Bryants, guys like that, the guys that move the jerseys and win the games and sell the tickets, the true superstars, not just, hey, that's a famous guy that wears a basketball jersey, because people get those confused. There's a difference between guy who's famous because he plays basketball and superstar. Those are not the same thing. So any of those guys, I mean, without a max contract, what's the ceiling on that? I don't want to disparage guys and throw guys under the bus, but if Joe Blow, who you think is overpaid, is worth a max contract of $100 million, then what is Kevin Durant worth? What is LeBron James worth? I mean, because at that point, when you look at the ratings they draw, say what you want about LeBron, and you guys know I'm not in the LeBron James stumping panel over here. I'm still got my issues with him. But when you sell out every game on the road, clearly you're a draw. That's not just a basketball thing. That's an entertainment thing. That's money. That you're a draw. You're putting butts in the seats, as they say. And, and he's one of the ones that does that, separate from just being a part of the NBA package. So, I don't know, interesting here, but I'll tell you what, they've got a whole lot of money to argue about now after tripling those fees, so it'll be interesting. But expect a whole lot of quotes from guys. Every time there's a lockout or a threat of a lockout or negotiations, these guys always say dumb things. Remember, who was it say? I had food. I got to look myself in the mirror. I mean, I could just Spreewell. You can look through some of these quotes of guys saying, well, I couldn't take $50 million because I got to look myself in the mirror tomorrow. I got to put food on the table. No, bro, you haven't had to worry about putting food on the table in a long time. I get it. They make a ton of money. You deserve part of that money, a big part of that money. I'm not even arguing that point, but some of the quotes do get comical, and it'll get funnier, as people start to talk about making sacrifices. Because I remember a lot of times before the lockouts, with football and with basketball, the last go around for both of those, you heard the word sacrifices a lot. And I'm like, man, brother, let me tell you something. I know a lot of single parents. I know a lot of low-income households that could explain to you the definition of sacrifice, and it does not have to do with tucking away your paychecks so that when we go on a lockout, you've got a lot of disposable income to get you through. That is not a sacrifice, brother. But anyways, I'm just saying, and nobody's got to sacrifice now, because these cats are making $2.7 billion a year. Like I said, just to turn the TV on. We haven't opened the doors, sold a ticket or a jersey or a tennis shoe yet. We're just turning on the TV, and we're getting paid. So everybody's going to get paid a little bit more in the NBA after this one here. So we'll talk more about that as it comes. We'll take a break because we're going to talk to Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs. Or NBA. Well, we'll be talking about that later on down the line. Let's talk about the baseball playoffs. Latest going on, the Royals sweep. I want to get Jeff Gorman's thoughts on that. Indians, little tribe talk here. We'll talk some baseball with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. Dr. Football, Bill Check is coming up just a little bit later on. Doug Plagens, the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, he joins us with a season puck drop. I was going to say tip-off, but I'm like, I guess it's technically the puck drop, even though it's the tip-off of the season. We'll talk Monsters with Doug Plagens, football with Dr. Football, and baseball next with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com here on the Sports Fix. Don't go anywhere, baby. We just got rolling.
The Sports Fix, the show that asks the question,
what you talking about, Lou? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about, Lou?
We'll be right back.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
You're listening to the Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Football season is party season at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. Everyone wins at Harry Buffalo. Every Saturday is Coors Light College Football Saturday with $6 pitchers, 4 bottles for $10, and the Buckeyes in full HD. Football season is most definitely party season, and your headquarters is Harry Buffalo North Olmsted all winter long. Harry Buffalo, join the herd. Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history? In-depth personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sport. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today.
Hello, Cleveland. This is WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, and you are listening to the Sports Fix. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock back with you guys, rolling on here. The floodgates have opened. We'll open up the phone lines for you guys a little bit later on. Of course, the first call comes in right after I get all set up on the hotline with my next guest, Jeff Gorman. So we'll open up the phone lines later on. If you guys still want to get through last segment of the show, I will. If you want to talk to me, you can do it all night long, and actually all day too, since it's afternoon here where I'm at. Although where some of you are, it's nighttime right now. Some of you, it's early crack of dawn here. But anyways, you can use Facebook and Twitter and email. Yeah, that's right, AC/DC. Party, baby. You can hit us up, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sportsfix CLE. Email us, the Sportsfix at AOL.com. Again, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sportsfix CLE, all one word. Email us, the Sportsfix at AOL.com. Having fun? You guys having fun? I hope so. Always a good time when we get to do this. I know that sounds cliche, but it's legit. Like, I'm at the point now where I don't know. It's been so many years of doing the Sports Fix thing. I don't know what to do without it. So we're going to have to keep it going a little bit longer. If that's cool with you, we'll keep this thing going a little bit. If it's cool with you, I'm going to go to the phones and talk to my man, Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. I'm sure the Tribe will be in this conversation as well. There's some teams still playing baseball. A lot going on. Curious to get his thought so far. The Royal sweepery going on there and what's happening there and so much more with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, J-Rock. A lot of interesting, exciting baseball to talk about in the first week. And I think if you want to talk about the Indians, I guess the best thing we can say about the Indians is we're going into the ALCS and all the big money teams are gone. Either the Orioles or the Royals are going to go to the World Series, and that shows that could someday happen again for the Indians. It can be done.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We talked about that, too. You know, Baltimore's still upper third, but, yeah, I'm with you with the bigger teams being out, and we may see even more of that depending on what happens here, today. But I'm with you on that. See, from the flip side, though, when you say looking at it from an Indians perspective, it's a good thing to see. I say it's a twisting knife kind of a thing because, and I say this again, look at Kansas City. And, I mean, listen, they have earned everything that they got. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. But you look at the Indians and the way, just the type of team they had, especially, we talked about the pitching being in postseason form for the last 6-8 weeks of the season. Man, it's a lot of what if is what I feel watching these games because I'm going, what would the Indians? And you know what? I do think that offensively, some of the same issues would have probably hurt them, but you never know. I mean, look at the improbable things that are happening in this entire playoffs for all these different teams, and I go, man, it's one of those that makes you go, man, the Indians could have done some damage in this thing. It would have been fun to watch them try. So it's a missed opportunity. And I'm not saying this in any kind of a bad way. I'm good with, I wanted more. I shouldn't say I'm good with I'm obviously not good with not making the playoffs. But, I'm not one of these guys. It was a terrible season for the Indians. We know where we got to go. Do it, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, if we just wasted this year, that's one thing. But it does look and kind of feel like a missed opportunity there because you're going, man, would have been interesting to see, because you look at the teams, and this was where I wanted to go with you first, is, you had talked so much about Oakland right after they made their big deadline deal there to make the push, and the other team that did the same thing, even though they gave up, in my opinion, much less, was Detroit. Going after Price in that last-minute deal, and everybody talked about how, bam, see you guys in the championship series against each other, Detroit and Oakland, and both of those teams washed away with the opening waves of the playoffs, man.
Yeah, it just shows that really anything can happen, especially with this format. I mean, you've got one game in the wild card, so that could obviously go either way. Then you've got a best of 5 American League and National League Division Series. If really any good team can beat any other good team twice, and then suddenly that other team has really got their backs against the wall, they're down 2-0, they've got to win 3 in a row, and that's the way it worked out here with, the Royals and the Orioles going up 2-0 and then putting the Tigers and the Angels back on their heels, and then just knocking them straight out just like that in 3 straight games. So it really lends itself to kind of anything can happen. And only, once it gets down to the very end, that you've got, 7 games in the ALCS, 7 games in the World Series. So it is kind of, the format, I think, really lends itself to being kind of the Wild Wild West because, coming in, it really had to look like on paper that it would be the Tigers and the Angels, and it turned out to be the exact opposite.
Yeah, and yesterday we talked a bit about enjoying the revelry in the Tigers being bounced out. That is the one gallon of Haterade that I allow myself to drink here in this postseason. I'm not against anybody else. I'm not, necessarily rooting for certain teams, but the Tigers had to go. They had to go, and I enjoyed immensely the fact that it was in 3 and out. See you later, fellas.
Yeah, and it was pretty amazing how, because it did seem like it was almost unfair the way they added Price to their other pitchers, but